This episode of SpectreSoundStudios is brought to you by DistroKid. Get your music online and out to the world. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to SMG Viewers Comments, the weekly show where I take a look at your comments and questions and try to answer them the absolute best I can. Last week we were in Hollywood, this week we're back in the studio. Let's get right to it.
I've been recording audio for 15 years and just learned something new. Please, more of these, Glenn.
Hey Charles, so glad you're getting some use out of these episodes. Hey, believe me, I've been doing audio for 20 years and I still try and learn something new every single day. That's the wonderful thing about checking out tutorials and how other people do things. They might see things slightly differently than you and might have an interesting way of approaching things. Like I said, I'm really glad you got some use out of it, and I hope you guys are too. I'm trying to do this Tutorial Wednesday series, and I'll have something new for you guys every single Wednesday, except for next week. I'm going to be in Frankfurt at Music Messe, so I've got a really cool Harley Benton shootout coming up that I think you guys are going to dig, but I am going to return to the tutorials in a week or two. Please bear with me. Like I said, I got to do just a little bit of traveling. If anyone is going to be in Germany or at Music Messe, I will be there all 4 days hanging out at the Joyo booth, so please make sure to stop by. I'd love to meet you.
Hi, Glenn. How do you go about recording acoustic instruments, such as violins, cellos, pianos, etc.? Cheers!
Ooh, tough one. It really depends on the instrument. I mean, piano, I like to use small diaphragm condensers, the best you can get. Acoustic guitar, I'll use maybe a large diaphragm condenser, maybe a small diaphragm condenser. Really depends on the instrument. I know I'm a big fan of the Roswell Mini K47s on acoustic. And for violin, I love ribbon mics because violins can be incredibly piercing. I did a couple Celtic projects a while back, and after trying to mic up the fiddle with condenser mics, it just got to be so piercing. And so we switched over to some cheaper ribbons and it just smoothed the sound right out and kind of made it sound almost a little bit fat. So don't be afraid to try different mics for different applications. Good luck to you.
Hi, Glenn. I've been commenting on a few of your older videos, but I figured I may be heard better here. Please do a guitar collection video. I'm really interested in that acrylic guitar behind the drummer. Cheers from Scotland.
Hey, cheers from Canada. Thanks so much for asking. I really should do a guitar collection video. I think that'd be a really cool video to check out. I've been collecting guitars since 1985, so yeah, I've got a few interesting ones, that's for sure. As for your question about the acrylic Warlock, I'm sorry to disappoint, but I actually sold it. I have a long-standing policy in the studio is that if I haven't touched something in a year, it's time to get rid of it. And that's just to avoid clutter. It's a small studio. I'm in a 20 by 24 building. There's not a lot of space to go around. And that acrylic Warlock had been sitting around for the last couple of years untouched. So I was like, okay, yeah, it's time to go. It was a cool guitar, but honestly, it left something to be desired with tuning stability in the studio just because the body was so massive in comparison to the neck. And if you grabbed it the wrong way, it just knocked it out of tune. And you really can't have that in a recording situation.
What's your distressor settings for these videos? Cheers from Sweden.
Now, the thing I love about the distressor is it's pretty hard to get it to sound bad no matter how you set it up. Here's a good rule of thumb. Set everything at 5 with a 4-to-1 ratio and chances are it's going to sound great. The distressor is kind of the Swiss Army knife of compressors. It's one of those rare pieces that does just about everything well. It doesn't just specialize in one thing. It does a lot of things really, really well. But my general settings are input about maybe 6.5, attack at 5, release 5 to 6, all depending, and output's about 6.5. At a 4-to-1 ratio and adding a little bit of level 2 distortion, just for a little bit of saturation on the mic. So that's pretty cool, but it's fast enough to grab any peaks to keep things from going into the overs. It's been a wonderful tool, especially as a monologue compressor for this show over the last 3 years or whatever. It's been on every single video and it's just been spectacular. If you are saving up to get a compressor, save up and get a distressor. It's well worth the money.
Glenn, some of us here are tired of your hate speech against bass players.
Oddly enough, some of us here are tired of recording bass players who never practice. Yeah, there's two types of people in the world. Those that do and those that sit around and bitch. Guess which category you fall into.
Are there compressors that don't chance the gain linear but e.g. parabolic so that there isn't an edge in your curve?
I think what you meant to say is change. Don't worry, it's probably autocomplete. At least that's what I'm going to guess it is. It's definitely gotten me more than a few times. But to answer your question, yes, you can change the type of compression curve. That's where the knee control comes in. So you don't get kind of a straight angle, you get more of a curving, gentle kind of thing. An LA2A opto compressor or the Stam Audio SA2A has a very gentle compression curve. They're really cool and they sound really awesome when you really start leaning into them. Definitely something worth checking out with some of the software compressors. Check out that knee control. It might be just what you're looking for.
Hello, Glenn. So, if wanted to start recording my guitar, I've got a Focusrite Solo Gen 2 and am running it through Bias FX. There's a ridiculous amount of latency and delay on it, which makes it basically unplayable. It's seriously demoralizing and frustrating. Any advice?
Well, hey, Hayden, the one thing you didn't tell me is what drivers you're using or operating system. If you're on Windows, make sure you're using the ASIO drivers. That's audio system in-out. Don't use the MME drivers. WDM might work. I haven't really played with them too much in a long time, but ASIO is pretty much guaranteed. And if you're scratching your head going, what the hell is ASIO? Go check out the Focusrite site and hit up their tech support, because that's definitely more of a question for them than for me. And or Bias FX, talk to them as well, ask their tech support. But chances are, I'm guessing it is a driver issue. Just a general rule of thumb, when in doubt, go with ASIO. You can't go wrong. Hey everybody, this episode is sponsored by DistroKid, my favorite service to put music out to online retailers like iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, and Spotify, plus over 150 smaller online music retailers as well. It only costs $20 a year and you keep 100% of your earnings. DistroKid also has lots of cool features, including instant verification on Spotify and change your image on Apple Music and iTunes. What's more is that they've got a new feature that allows you to add credits and liner notes to stores and streaming services. You can now list musicians, contact info, social media profiles, and hundreds of other roles. They've also got the Teams function, which allows you to split your earnings automatically among your bandmates, and a cover song license only costs $12 a year. I use DistroKid to put my music out, and my friends do as well. The Dread Machine project we did a while back was launched through DistroKid, and it saved us all a lot of grief. If you've got a band, you really need to check it out. Go to distrokid.com/VIP/Spectre today and grab yourself a 7% discount. Follow the link in the description below. Now back to the show.
Hey, Glenn, what is your opinion on recording a full band all at once? What are some pros and cons and how you should approach it?
Funny you'd mentioned that. I was just in Toronto over the weekend working with Protocol. They're one of the bands that supplied a lot of my background music for the show. And we did 2 songs. We did one song on rails. We tracked to a metronome, and we're going to layer in the guitars after, and the standard metal production technique. And then we did a second song, and we did that to a metronome as well. And then we turned off the metronome, and I had the band play together, because I haven't done that in ages. And yes, it was far from perfect, but there was definitely some vibe. There's a reason why people still listen to the Sex Pistols 40 years after it was recorded, and nobody's going to remember generic, verb the noun gent bands 10 years, even 2 years from now, because they all sound sanitized. So how I would approach it, this was a big studio, so there were ISO booths, and places to put the guitar amps and that kind of thing. And, one guitar player was able to sing along because there was a nice big ISO booth. I've got a much smaller studio. I'd probably do it with the drummer in the drum room and maybe a guitar player or two in here in the control room and just run everyone through amp sims. That would be cool too. Interestingly enough, the 2 Woods of Reprey discs, those were done pretty much live off the floor. And again, those records did amazing things. Actually, I look back, most of my favorite records I've done over the last 20 years didn't have a metronome. So interesting. Something I want to look more into, and we're going to do some comparisons back and forth. I think it's going to be really cool to see. Stay tuned.
Can you show how to get a different tone? Because every tone today sounds the same.
Yes, that is something I'm definitely going to investigate. We're going to do some more explorations on that, because I think everybody's kind of got the 5150 into a rectifier into a 57 thing down pretty well. I've started messing with the blending of 2 different mics, and that's kind of cool. I got a few things planned for where that comes into, but I'm going to be investigating some other amps and even some of my solid state amps, which I have yet to feature on the show. I've got 2 that are particular favorites that I think are pretty badass. Don't forget, Dimebag played nothing but solid state amps and got an amazing, unique tone that really set the bar in a lot of ways. So don't be afraid to try something new, even if people online don't like it, because One problem with a lot of forums and Facebook and whatnot, they become echo chambers, and nobody's really doing anything new. Don't be afraid to step out on your own.
So after seeing the vegan heavy metal revival thing, I have a question for you. I mentioned someone wanting to start a new rock movement, going back to the glory days of fret-burning guitar solos, soaring vocals, and powerful rhythm sections. All the wonderful and unachievable dreams of a teenager. They responded with everything comes back. What are your thoughts on the subject? Do you think that we could ever truly have a shift back to classic rock / metal and organic production, or is the industry just too far gone? What new forms of rock metal might take in the future?
That is a tough one. I mean, like, ultimately it's going to be up to the young people and what they're going to want to hear. I mean, like, there's nothing like a good old-fashioned political movement to start a movement in music. I mean, in the 60s, you had the Vietnam War and all the protests and whatnot, and all this amazing music came out of that. The thing is, I don't think rock and roll is very dangerous anymore. It's become way too accessible in a lot of senses. And it's great that it is accessible, but it kind of sucks that it's super accessible and you get to see the musicians as people and not as rock stars anymore. The rock stars have definitely been dying out. There isn't that so much anymore. And it's not sex, drugs, and rock and roll anymore. It's let's not have any fun and you offended me and that kind of thing. So I don't know, maybe if the young people of the world stop getting offended about everything and start learning how to rock again, we might see something cool happen. I was fortunate enough to come up in a time where there's still some truly great music being made. Ultimately, I think the young people are going to have to stand up and say, hey, enough of the bullshit. Let's hear something awesome.
One solitary thumbs down on the video. Honestly, I'm just impressed that a drummer figured out how to use the internet.
Aren't we all?
Demonetization has nothing to do with free speech. You can still say what you want, you just might not get paid for it.
Oh, I wish that were true. Unfortunately, it seems YouTube's on kind of a political agenda these days, and certain videos of certain political opinions are being deleted. Not because they're sexist or racist or anything like that, just because they don't subscribe to a certain political viewpoint. And I think that's really sad. I mean, like, we should be able to have a debate. We should be able to communicate with one another and have different ideas and different opinions. Like, I don't agree with a lot of things these days either, but you know what? I'm interested in hearing from other people, though. We're never going to move forward unless we talk to each other.
YouTube just unsubscribed me from your channel. Saw this video in my sub box yesterday, and now I'm unsubbed. Apparently that's still a thing. What fun.
Well, hey, Felix, thanks for chiming in. I really appreciate that. Sucks you got unsubbed, and I ask anybody who might have got unsubbed, please double check and make sure that you hit that sub button. It definitely goes a long way into helping the show out and helping me make content for you guys.
Compressors. I'm always watching YouTube videos about mixing, and people are using various software compressors depending on the application. What makes them different? As I understand it, it's a mechanic that affects perceived volume of a signal with variables based on attack, hold, and release, and the ratio of what it compares. So what makes one compressor better than another?
The short answer is it depends. Different compressors can do different things. They have much faster attacks or slower attacks. They might be solid state. They might be FET. They might do really strange things. It depends on the application. You know, like bass guitar, you might want to use an 1176 or a FET-based compressor because it's got a super fast attack. Whereas if you're doing a vocal and you want kind of just a slight harmonic saturation, you want to go with like the SA2A because it's got a slower attack and it's tube-based. So there's lots there, and I'm going to explore that a little more in a couple more tutorials and show you guys what's the difference between a FET and tube compressor and all that. All right, everybody, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you're going to be in Germany next week, make sure to check out the Music Messa Show. I will be there along with Christian Vane. We'll be hanging out at the Joyo booth. Hope to see you there. Anyway, until next time, thanks so much for watching, and as always, Hasa Diga Ibawai.